right, let's get started for today's lesson. So I'm going to switch to be at 45. I'm mindful that sometimes when you close the screens, it turns off. So I want the screens at 45. I want your notebooks in front of you, so that way I know that we are listening. I don't want to see hands on the mice of the computer, 45 degrees, so that way they're not distracting. Book in front of you. In fact, you shouldn't have your device out yet because I haven't told you to start using it. All right. So what we're looking at for today to make sure that we have is our date and our learning intention. Today we are going to explore what makes Aotearoa's life unique and explain why. And why. So that's the first thing we need to have. The other thing is our Mahi/do now. So what I wanted us to do was name or list the 5 general parts of a plant.
General parts of a plant.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So hopefully you guys have those answers, because I'm going to pick on 5 people. So if they give me one of each. So first person that's giving me one general part of the plant is going to be Dante. What's one part of the plant that we commonly see? The stem, good. All right, second person. Do you want to answer? All right, Rita.
The root.
The root? Benua.
Leaves.
Leaf? All right, no. Fruit, and there's one last one. I'm going to ask Hassan. Flower. Good. You guys remember it from yesterday?
Yeah. No, it was on Monday.
Oh, Monday, yes.
Oh, Monday.
Yes. All right, so those are the 5 common parts of the plant. Some plants will have all of them, some plants won't. It kind of depends. But it's a good sort of refresher, because we're going to start looking at these parts of the plant and looking at some of the uses that we can have. So in today's learning intention, we're going to be focusing on Aotearoa and thinking specifically why the plant life is so unique. We're going to explore what makes those plant and animals unique, and also what. We're not going to look outside, but you guys are going to be able to do some learning and exploring. All right. So depends on what native, invasive, and introduced species mean. Just so you guys know those terminologies, because when you guys go onto the Mahi choice and you start reading and learning about them, you'll know what native is and what problems do invasive cause. And then lastly, I'll just wrap up, just talk about various career pathways. If you guys find this stuff sort of interesting, it's good to then know what you could do with this knowledge. All right. On our checklist, we're looking at number 4. So by the end of today, you should be able to explain why Aotearoa has unique plant life. So we'll flip back over to that. We are taking off number 4 off of our to-do list. So you can take off number 4. Yeah. Does anyone need a green one?
No.
Everyone got a green one?
Yeah.
We're good?
Yeah.
All right. Cool. So let me start by talking about some words introduced and invasive. I want you guys to make sure whatever I have in my notes is what you guys also copy down as well. So the first thing we need to think about are New Zealand species. So New Zealand living things.
Humans.
So we're thinking about New Zealand's living things. With those living things, we are thinking about plants and we're thinking about animals as well. So, there are two main categories that we need to think about when we're thinking about New Zealand's native species. All right, I see people on devices and they're not supposed to be on the devices.
Everything.
You should have your notes in front of you and you should be writing down what we're doing. I'm going to do a nice little mind map.
Everything.
So there's two categories that we're thinking about with New Zealand's living things. The first thing is native.
Car.
And the other thing is introduced.
Animal. Animal.
So, what do you guys think native means?
Native islands.
Things that are from New Zealand. So they're originally from New Zealand.
Kiwi.
Yeah. So some examples include kiwi.
No. Yes. No.
I heard another one. Someone said kawakawa.
Yeah. All right.
All right. So those are some examples of native. So it just means that these things have originated from New Zealand and they've been here for a very, very long time. What about introduced? What do you guys think introduced means? Things that have been brought over on ships, very commonly humans would bring over. So yeah, we'll write that down. So what's some examples of things that humans brought?
Dogs.
Dogs, good. Rats.
Did they actually?
Yeah. Some of them were on purpose, like dogs and sheep. Other things were on accident, like rats.
Did you know there's rats and mince and cheese pies?
Let's hope there's no rats in your mince and cheese pies, because that would not be very
There's
good.
enough protein.
Yeah, people are always worried about like mice. You have to have cleanliness.
I didn't even know. It tastes nice. Hey.
Right down
I'm
there.
stop my food.
You guys want that a little bit lighter?
No.
The orange.
Things that have been dropped over.
Yeah, so like dogs, rats, cats. There's also plants as well that we've brought over, like roses.
Cats,
Roses are native to New Zealand.
Rats.
All right. The next word we need to think about. So with those introduced, why do you think we brought them over?
Ducks.
Why do you think we brought like sheep over?
To help produce wool.
To help produce wool to keep us warm, because humans want the wool to make clothes.
And feed them.
To eat them, yeah. So a lot of things have been introduced because we thought they were useful. Some of the things we introduced was by accident. Now, with those introduced, some of those introduced species are known as invasive. So what do you think invasive means?
Invasive.
What does it mean when someone invades your space, like your personal space?
That means
Like,
invading. Emotional damage.
like if I start walking closer to you and then I'm like invading your personal space, what does that mean? I'm getting too close, right? Yeah?
A little bit too late.
So that's when we think about the word invasive. What about invading? Have you guys heard the word invading before?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can see that right now. Russia's invading the Ukraine. Not great. So invasive is not generally known as a good word, right? It means to like take over. So when we talk about invasive species, we talk about species that are taking over and killing native ones.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So invasive, we're talking about introduced species
Oh, damn. I just finished reading that.
that take over an environment. And the linkage between them is that these invasive species can kill the native. So sometimes they are invasive because they compete for the same resources and they use up the resources. So if I have an invasive plant, it's growing and it's like taking up all the sunlight, taking up all the water from the native ones. We can also have invasive species that indirectly influence another animal. So for example, the stoats and the rats and the possums, they will kill native birds, and those native birds are important for our pollination of our plants. So there's lots of ripple effects when we're thinking about these invasive species. So in today's activity, we're going to just focus on the native, and we're looking at why does New Zealand have uniqueness in their native species, because there our birds, our plants, our mammals, they're very unique to New Zealand. So we're going to discover why. And the other thing we're going to look at is what's the usage for these native species as well. So I'll leave that up on the board to make sure you guys have that written down.
Don't be fancy.
And then we will move on to our first activity. All right, cool. Let me unfreeze the screen on the board. Okay. All right, everybody, listen up. All right, listen up. Phones away. All right. So I'm very mindful that you guys like to do a lot of independent, self-directed learning. You don't like to just listen to me talk, which is okay. So, I'll wait till you guys are ready. Screen's at 45.
Screen's at 45.
All right. So, just waiting for you guys to be listening up. Okay. So once again, we have a Mahi choice, but in this case, a skill set. So we're going to go to Google Classroom so you guys can see where to find this stuff. Don't want to go to my Google site. Google Classroom. All right, and if we go to Year 10 Science, lesson number 3. We can see our instructions. So, I have created for each one of you guys some Google Slides for your Mahi choice. So basically what activity you want to work on. So there's 2 categories, because there's 2 bits of information I want you guys to learn about today. First off, I want you to learn about why Aotearoa has unique plant and animal life. And can we... I'm going to wait.
How long are you going to wait for us? How long are you going to wait for me?
Till I have your attention. All right, the second category is on Mataranga Māori, so we're looking at Māori knowledge. So, again, same thing that you guys had last time. There are 4 possible activities, but I don't need you guys to do all 4 of them. I want you to start with completing 2. I want you to do 1 in each category. 1 needs to be an easy, and 1 needs to be an advanced. So you can choose which one you want to do as your easy and which one you want to do as your advanced. If you finish early, I want you guys to do the other Mataranga Māori task that you didn't do. So, I'll wait.
Yes, I will wait too.
All right.
I'll wait.
Shh.
We'll wait. Yes, we won't.
All right, for the first category, you have a choice of either reading the Science Learning Hub, which talks about the uniqueness of New Zealand plants and why that has occurred, or you can read the ESA Chapter 20, which you will find right here. With that, I want you guys to practice that literacy skills, so I've hyperlinked the questions that tie to each one. So if you're doing the Science Learning Hub, you're reading slides 2 through 5 to answer questions. If you are doing the ESA questions, you are doing slides 7 through 9. All right, so that's the choice for number 1. Category number 2, there are 2 activities that you can choose from. The first one is a video about kumara harvest. So you can learn about how that kumara gets harvested, and you are answering the slides on page 10 and 11. So that's the option for this one here. If you need headphones, there are headphones available, so you can listen to that video. But you do need to give me a loan if you need to borrow headphones. The advanced one is looking at the Science Learning Hub, and we are learning about the medical usage of some of these plants that we have. To help you guys learn them and read and comprehend, we have some photographs of the different plants, and we have some medical conditions such as ulcers, stomach ache, diarrhea, that sort of thing. You read the article and you match them up. Okay? So that's activity, that's the advanced activity, because there's a lot more reading with that one. All right? Then you recap what you learned on slide number 12. So you summarize what you found, which plants can be used to treat abdominal pain, which one can be used for colds, cuts and wounds, diarrhea, etc., etc. So that is your Mahi choice for today. I'm happy to get started. You can work together while you do it. If you want to do the plants and the medicines, you need to pick up that over here. You just got to pick up a set of plants and a set of list of medical things. Cool? All right, I will give you a sticker for each task that gets completed. So hop to it. Cool. So, I just wanted to do some recap, and I want to point some things out. There's lots of different pathways available if you guys are interested in invasive species, and there are lots of different areas. So if you're interested in science aspects, there's lots of things here. We're going to stop with the bears. If you're interested more so in the social science, humanities side of things, you can also look at cultural connections, and there's also stuff with management, with biosecurity stuff. There's lots of different career pathways if you guys are interested in these invasive species material. Alright, to recap, you guys should be able to explain what Alpha has unique plant life, and we'll also be able to explain some of what we use those plants for. We need to spray the tables and wipe them down and put up the chairs.